we've had a very strong first quarter. All the numbers are up. The revenues are up by 36%. Gross profits are up by 115%. And the net profit margin has moved from -2 back in Q1 23, from -2 to positive 10% this year. In terms of the reasons, well, that's pretty much consistent with the story that we've had for the past few months. Shahid grew before Ramadan and then has grown during Ramadan. TV advertising is up, and you may remember we talked before about the impact of Gaza in Q4 last year. That caused a quite steep fall off Q4 23. We've started to see the advertising come back. Not all the advertisers are back, and clearly the geopolitical events are continuing, but we have seen advertising come back. And then the other structural reason is with Ramadan moving 10 days each year. In 24, we had 20 days of Ramadan in Q1 as opposed to 10 days last year. So that has an impact, a positive impact on our results too.
Let's delve into the revenue streams in detail. Q1 revenues increased by 36%. What were the contributions of the different business lines to this growth in revenue, and where across which business lines did you see the largest jump in revenues?
Okay, so let me give you a bit more color to the revenue numbers. Television, I mentioned, is actually up 22% compared to Q1 23. Interestingly, even in Egypt, we saw, despite the devaluation, the Egyptian advertising in dollar terms is up. So that's a strong result. And then Shahid, as I mentioned, the revenues are up by 72%. Now that divides into two parts. Shahid has the free version and then the paid version. On the advertising, it's up by 3 times. And that's partly because at the beginning of last year, we just started the journey of reinvigorating the free version of Shahid. That's now working, we're monetizing that well, and it's up by 3 times. But overall, Shahid is up in revenue terms by 72%.
Let us discuss Shahid in detail, because definitely it's a growth engine for MBC Group. So you say that it has seen a massive growth in revenues. This has diminished its loss to only 6 million compared to what it was in the past year. When do you expect Shahid to become profitable, given that this first quarter had the seasonality effect, which is difficult to replicate in coming seasons?
Sure. Okay, so the pattern of Shahid subs tends to be we have a growth before Ramadan. It jumps up during Ramadan when clearly people are watching a lot of content, and then that comes off after Ramadan, and then the growth continues through the rest of the year. We've seen that pattern in 21, 22, 23, and so we can't expect that to continue in 24. In terms of profitability, we'd said in the prospectus back last year that we thought that it would take 5 years for Shahid to break even. So we're now a few months further forward, but we've had a very strong first quarter. So we will be looking now in quarters 2 and 3 to see whether we can reassess that 4 to 5 year time frame and potentially bring that forward.
The industry is having a lot of challenges and disruption. What is your vision for MBC Group so that it stays in the lead given all those challenges?
Pretty much the same things that we've been saying all along. Ultimately, the foundation of our strength on television and on Shahid is the premium Arabic content. And we've seen that last year, Q4, it was Safat al-Giza. This year, before Ramadan, we've seen Thanawat al-Nasim, Saudi high school drama. And it's these ones which are very relevant, good quality, which brings in a lot of acquisition. Content will continue to be the foundation of everything we do, and we have a big slate going forward. We will continue with that. On television, we've said that we believe that the television market will grow. We predict that it's going to continue growing by about 6%. Everything that we're seeing in the last year, particularly in the last quarter, gives us confidence that we'll see that going. And then on Shahid, as we've talked about, it's a growth vehicle. The number of subscribers in the Middle East is a lot lower than subscribers in percentage terms, a lot lower than the same percentage in the more mature markets. So there's a lot of room for growth. And Shahid is well positioned to capture that growth. We'd said in the prospectus, or we had said, Data Axis had, the market research company, had given us a market share, or determined that we were at 23.2% in Q3 last year. They've just released the Q4 numbers, which puts Shahid now at 24.9. So we've increased our market share. That means that we are very well positioned to take advantage of that big growth that will continue to come on Shahid. I think that makes NBC continues to be a very strong investment proposition.